two basic types of trees here on the side of Mount Washington, and that would be hardwoods and softwoods. Now the hardwoods, that's the kind that have leaves that are changing for our fall foliage season right now. And the other type, the softwoods, they have needles, like a Christmas tree. Now some of the varieties of hardwoods are maple. As a young man, he left New Hampshire and went out to the Midwest and made his fame and fortune in meat packing and grain storage, and later on in life returned to New Hampshire to retire. One Sunday afternoon, Mr. Marsh and his pastor decided to take a hike up Mount Washington, only to get caught in a nasty storm up on the summit. And it was right then and there that Mr. Marsh decided he was going to figure out a better way to get up and down Mount Washington than to simply hike it. Now what he came up with is this cog propulsion idea, and that's a lot like taking a bicycle chain and laying it flat for the war effort during World War II. And also the Cog Railway has never been used for anything but recreational use. It's never been used for mining or logging or any other purpose except bringing folks safely up and down the side of Mount Washington. Now over there on the left-hand side of the tracks, you may see there are some pipes coming up out of the ground. But what those pipes are snowmaking hydrants. One pipe is for air and the other is for water. Now in 2002, the Cog Railway decided they were going to have a ski train. They put in that snowmaking equipment to build a beautiful ski trail over on the right-hand side of our tracks. What they weren't counting on now, if I could just ask everybody that's on the left-hand side of the coach just to please stay inside the windows until we do get by this water tank. And the reason for that is we're only going to be about 6 inches away from that water tank. And I don't want any of you getting hurt. And yes, that water tank is level, believe it or not. It's also 97 years old and holds 6,000 gallons of water. Now our steam engine takes on between 400 and 500 gallons of water out of that tank on that trip up every day. Now the water for that tank is supplied by a spring out on the right-hand side of our tracks about a half a mile out in the woods. That water is 40 degrees and it's also 99.9% pure drinking water. Over there on the left-hand side, that's the original main line. That's been there since 1869. Now before we head to pass the tracks, the trains coming up would have to back out onto a spur line, wait for the trains coming down to pass by, and then continue on up the mountain. Now with these passing tracks, if everybody's on time, we just simply pass each other. And that saves a lot of time. And the time that we save translates into more time for you folks on the summit of the mountain. Coming up over on the left-hand side, that's engine M2. Now the brakeman on that coach's name is Cookie. Now Cookie got his nickname because he really, really, really likes chocolate chip cookies. Now what's going to happen now is the engineer on M3 is going to push the button in that switch box, and that's going to move this entire switch right here in front of us. And if you want to see that in action, you can see it moving right now actually. The big arm over on the right hand side will push that entire section of track right over and line it right up with the section of track that we're on now, so we can go back out onto the main line. you had a chance to visit our base station museum or not, but in that base station museum is what's called the Devil's Shingle or slide board. Basically just a 3.5 foot long board, about 1.5 feet wide with a crude braking system on it. And that's what they used to deliver the special editions of that newspaper down from the summit to the base station. Now the quickest time I'm told for delivering the papers down from the summit was set by a female with a time of 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And she was traveling an average, and this sits right here on the right hand side of us, coming right up in front of this white board. This is our profile rock. We believe it bears a striking resemblance to the old man of the mountain who tumbled off the cliffs in Franconia Notch back in 2003. This is Jacob's Ladder, and this is the steepest point on the Cog Railway of 37.41. This is also noted as being one of the world's most treacherous railway trusses. And that's because it has a 30-foot drop-off on one side and a 30-degree sloping corner in the middle of it. Now, I don't know if you folks would be interested or not, but if you'd like, go ahead and stand up and get an idea of what it's like to stand up at 37.41 degrees. It's okay, you're safe. You can't roll any farther down than the back trestle because it's the longest of our 34 trestles here on the Cog Railway with a distance of 2,400 feet. It's also our second steepest grade on the Cog Railway of 35. Now, part of this trestle was boiled over during a hurricane in 1939, and it took our track crews exactly a month to rebuild this section of trestle and have trains running back and forth up and down the mountain again. Right down over that edge to the bottom of the Lake Delta Ravine. Way down at the bottom of that ravine was a little lake called Spalding Lake, but it is pretty much inaccessible, and nor is it viewable from here on the Cog Railway. Brakemen see anything wrong going up the mountain, all we have to do is radio our track boss and give them the number of that sill. They'll know exactly where to come and check out any issues there might be. As you can see, these rocks are very, very sparkly, and that's because they contain lots of pieces of mica. As a matter of fact, these rocks are called a mica schist rock, and they are a metamorphic rock. Back in 1642, the first white man that ever summited Mount Washington was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Debby Villarreal, and he did that with the help of 2 Native Americans from this area. Legend has it that the reason Mr. Field wanted to summit the mountain is because he had seen these sparkly bits from a distance, and he thought these sparkly bits could quite possibly be precious gemstones. Inside, that's the Lizzie Bourne Memorial. Now, Lizzie born was the first female to perish up here on Mount Washington, September 14th of 1855. Lizzie and some hiking companions got caught in a wintry storm and actually hiked right by the tip-top house where they would have been safe for the night. They got trapped right there where you see that marker. And Lizzie perished due to hypothermia. Well, folks, I'd just like to say that anything that's given to us today on this trip is not expected, but it is also greatly appreciated, and it is divided equally between myself and our engineer, Mark. And also, if I might be able to ask you to do me a favor, and that is just please all remain seated if you would, because momentarily I'm going to have to get off the coach and guide our engineer, Mark, to a safe stop. And then I need to come back in and just explain a few things about the summit buildings to you, and then you're free to enjoy your time on top of Mount Washington. And that ski slope that you can see out there on the left-hand side, that's the Wildcat ski area, and that's located in Pickett's, New Hampshire.